All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right. Back again on the other side of the coin. We have it's a down under show tonight. We've got the Aussie boys here. Myself, RJ, Scott. Scott being an Arsenal fan, which is still, I mean, at the end of the day, he's Australian. That's what counts first. Australians, that's the rank number one, and then the rest. So
don't be nice to him, Miz. Don't be nice to him.
Absolutely. We'll get down and dirty very, very soon, I'm pretty sure. But I always enjoy, I think we should try and get the Australian crowd involved a lot more. Really, boys. I've been talking to RJ about this offline a lot. We should try and get, hopefully, we already have a Man United fan amongst you guys. Hopefully, Robert can come through one of these days. But we need to find more. I'm sure there's like Leeds fans in Australia. I'm sure there's like Newcastle fans. Like these are big fan bases around here. And we really need to reach out to these people and get like a proper Premier League Australian show happening. I'm pretty sure the live chat and the viewers will enjoy that. First of all, thank you heaps to the live chat. Already quite a few people that have logged on. Thank you heaps for the support. And a lot of people will watch the stream, throughout, and we'll see it afterwards as well. Thank you so much for all your support all the time. Deep State is already here. Boys from Down Under. That is right. We are the boys from Down Under. We should probably have a segment next season. Maybe it's too late for this season, but next season, I reckon we should have a weekly show. Boys from Down Under. You know what? That's probably a very good name. I like that. I just might bring that up. Wow. Boys from Down Under. We've got Declan Island here as well. Liverpool are coming up on the rails. Watch out, Leicester. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But yeah, before we get into all of that, RJ, my man, how you doing?
Yeah, fantastic, Miz. It's great to talk football, talk Chelsea, talk Premier League, just talk anything football related. And it's also great to have my good mate, local Scott, from our co-host of It's a Football Thing podcast. So happy days and look forward to chat with the live chat as well. So yeah, great. Good evening, I should say.
Good evening. Good evening.
We're 82 minutes into the stream. Are you guys for real? You stitched me up.
You're going to get it today. You're going to get it, Scott. I've got so much to talk about Arsenal Football Club. My days. But before we do all of that, Scott, my man, how's things?
Boys, as I said to you before we started, every week of football is crushing my soul just a little bit more. But you know what? I wouldn't change it, man. I'm still getting up to have the soul crushed. So you know what? These are the highs and lows of being a football fan. At the moment, it's the lows. But speaking to you, fine gentlemen, well, not RJ, but you, Miz, that's certainly a high.
Thank you. As I said, we're definitely going to talk about Arsenal. We have to because, RJ, I know we want to laugh a little bit, but at the same time, we do want to understand a few things on a deeper level, on a serious level as well. I think it's interesting to find out what is going on with Arsenal Football Club. Obviously, everyone, as soon as something happens to Arsenal, they flock into the Arsenal Fan TV just for the banters and the laughters. But every now and then you do get certain individuals, they talk like, especially Mo. Mo is someone who talks legit. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about, Scott. Mo from Arsenal Fan TV. He talks a lot of good stuff, and maybe we need to talk about that as well, just to understand the Arsenal side of things. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about Premier League, the weekend that has been so far. Obviously, there's still games going on. Some teams are playing multiple games because they're playing catch up, but we can kind of talk about the top four race and see where things are at. Let me just bring this up. Give me 1 second, boys. Okay, so this is the table as it stands at the moment. RJ, I'll go to you first of all. Obviously, a fine victory for us against Manchester City. We delayed their process a little bit for winning the league, which is fantastic. I didn't want to be the team that they can gloat around and say, oh, Chelsea was the team that we beat and we won the title. Do you know what I mean? So it was a fantastic result for us. Man United, look, I must say, let's start the conversation with Man United, RJ. I think some sort of praise needs to be given to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I know a lot of people have been bantering him. I've bantered him a lot. But second in the Premier League, yes, 10 points behind City at the moment, as we can see, but game in hand, so it could be probably 7 points. But in recent times, as you can see, the form is not that bad, and they've been doing the job in recent times. And I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you reckon Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deserves a little bit of praise?
Yeah, I do, to be honest with you. I think a lot of fans, maybe not all Man United fans, of course, but I think a lot of fans would agree on the notion that while he doesn't play aesthetically pleasing football, he's highly effective. And that's what matters in football, especially in this type of top flight sort of league. It's not about how you get it done. It's just about getting it done. And I do think that it's funny because we do speak about it with Rob, our good mate, as you know, and even the things he says is that ultimately it's just about the results, and not just about the results, but just trying to show incremental improvement year on year. So he stays under the radar. But the thing with Ollie being in charge of a big club like United, Arsenal, etc., is that the minute that you go below the standards that you expect, the whole fan base melts down and wants you out instantly. But he continues to ride the wave, overcome some of those turbulent periods, and all of a sudden he quietly sneaks under the radar and earns second position quite healthily, and now in a Europa Cup final. So yeah, definitely deserves more praise. Again, not my type of manager, but doing a great job.
Yeah, no, I have to agree, man. Yeah, from here on, and you know what, RJ, you did say that it's not always pleasing in the eyes, but they've actually been putting some teams away in recent times. Aston Villa, I think it was a 3-1 victory as well. Away from home, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that was at home. Correct me if I'm wrong, boys. And
no, it was away. Yeah.
Leeds was the draw, and then prior to that, they were putting teams away. This is a really good comment. I would actually want Man United to beat Liverpool, to be honest, because then that's it. I think we're pretty much confirmed after that. We just need maybe a win out of our last three, or maybe some points out of our last three, and we're through. So this will be a game for the first time I'll probably be cheering Man United to beat Liverpool, to be honest. So we'll see what happens there. But Scott, let's talk a little bit about Leicester. I mean, surely not again. Honestly, I've been talking about it, and I feel very, very sad for Brendan Rodgers, because I actually want to see Leicester in Champions League next season. I really do. I want them to hold on to top four, but these guys have some big fixtures coming up. They got us to play. I believe they may even still have
United. I think it is
United as well. Yeah, United and Spurs. Spurs are in the mud anyway. I think they could probably get the victory against Spurs. But then again, yeah, I get your point. It could be a difficult situation. But how do you feel about Leicester, man? Is that, like, from a neutral's point of view, Scott? Is that a team that you wouldn't mind seeing in the Europa League? Europa League, Champions League.
Of course, I'd like to see them there compared to some of the other options. But you know what? You look at their last three matches, you look at some of their shaky results, and they seem to kind of drop off towards the end of the season, and it's happening again. We discussed it on our pod maybe 6 weeks ago, and I think they're definitely one of the teams that are dropping out. I'm confident they're dropping out. I can't see them picking up more than 4 points out of those games, and I don't think 4 points is enough.
Yeah, man. That's gonna suck for Leicester. Honestly, 2 years in a row.
Europa League still. Look, if they're going into the Champions League, Miz, they're not winning it. Yeah, they're not winning the Champions League. They're not. I know this might sound silly considering they won the Premier League not so long ago, but they're not pushing to the later stages of that comp. But you put them in the Europa League, long as they can overcome some of the gargantuan teams like Villarreal, they can actually compete in that tournament. I know it well. We've been there the last few seasons. It's our second home.
But you know what, mate? You know what, Scott? Yeah, but you know what? I get that point, because let's face it, unless they go on some dream run in the Champions League, they're unlikely to win it, obviously. But it's from an attraction point of view, for potential transfers. Players want to come in.
RJ, they've just got they just got Soumaré, Boubacar Soumaré from Lille.
Yes.
I think from Lille. Is it from Lille? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's from Lille. They're showing ambitions, boys. I believe they're looking to crack the top six or break open the top four as well. And as you said, RJ, I think these guys got ambitions. They want to finish in the top four and make it to Champions League. Scott, you're right. they're not expected to move massive in the Champions League. Quite possibly they could end up coming third and move back into the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? But I think their ambition is to make it to top 4. And I'm just thinking, if they miss out, and this will be the second time for Brendan Rodgers missing out. One, what questions does it raise for Brendan Rodgers? And two, is Leicester happy to be in Europa when clearly it looks like they really want to open this up? Like, what's your thoughts, Scott?
Now, to me, there's no questions on Brendan Rodgers. Look at some of the players he's got that he's turned into really solid players. Guys like Soyuncu, I think his name is, the defender. Yeah. Well, he's not someone that the big clubs were fighting for, but they took a player with ability, but not from that top tier, and he's coached him into being a really good player. Ian Arto has had a little bit of a resurrection, a resurgence. Yeah. They're not going to be chasing that top tier of player that some of the bigger boys are. So to me, even if they made Europa League, they'd be absolutely insane to ask questions of Rodgers, because I can't see who they would bring in that could do a better job with that.
So true. So true.
Maybe Arteta
to do better.
The Artepas, maybe Artepas. No. We're slowly going to reach towards Arsenal. It's going to be funny.
I'm happy to keep talking Leicester.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you will.
Just scroll down, Miz. You can't see Arsenal on the.
I know. It doesn't fit in the screen, RJ. It just doesn't fit in the screen. But RJ, do you fear for West Ham? I think it's finished for West Ham with a loss against Everton. My man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, doesn't get talked much enough, but I am trying to do some sort of propaganda here and there in this channel. Please shout out for Dominic Calvert-Lewin live chat. If you like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, please smash the like button. Ajay, I can't lie. There's some sort of a love from my side for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Once again, he scores the goal, puts West Ham away. Do you think that's probably the end? Obviously they've got some easy fixtures.
But favourable, that's my
but look at their form.
I know.
Look at their form. Despite all those losses. But what do you think? West Ham's still a chance?
Well, trying to put my realist hat on, they're still in it, and you're still in it to win it type thing. And their form doesn't look great, but I look at the likes of West Brom. I look at the likes of who else have they got there? They've got Brighton and Southampton. That's a pretty favourable run, to be honest. It is, but you're right. They're not playing well at the moment. I feel being 5 points at this stage might be a bridge too far for them. But the only thing they'll take a bit of joy out of is the fact that Chelsea and Leicester lock horns. So there's going to be a loser out of that outcome. So points will be dropped there. From Moyes' point of view, they win their 3 games. They puts them on 67 points. And that means that as long as Leicester don't take more than 4 points, which I don't think they will, to be honest, but it's just the goal difference might end up being what hurts them in the end. So, it's very unlikely, I'd say, but not totally out of it.
But you know what, RJ? Do you reckon West Ham's a particular team that may be okay with the Europa? I feel like they've absolutely overachieved this season. They were relegation battlers last season to 5th this season. Moyes has done a madness over there. I feel like they will be very happy if they end up finish 5th.
Yeah, and especially considering the fact that, like you said, Scott, Rodgers has done a pretty good job in transforming some of these no-namers into some pretty good names, even the likes of Fofana and Castagne. Leicester's got this incredible ability to sell players for a hefty price and replace them at a very low budget price. So they've done a great job. But in terms of West Ham, like you said, they've really changed from the last season or two, and now have put themselves in the conversation of being a respectable London team. But I think they will definitely be happy with settling for Europa, because they are a team that, while they have ambition, their starting position on the journey is a lot less advanced. So I think they're quite happy to have this material progress. If you told them at the start of the season, you're going to finish top 6, make Europa, and become a noticed team, they would sign that straight away, 100%.
100%. Scott, let's talk about Liverpool. I don't want to talk about any other teams below them. I really don't think Tottenham and Everton and all of that, they're any of a shout. Tottenham absolutely got rinsed by Leeds. Actually, you know what? We will talk about Leeds. I have to talk about Leeds because they're starting to become my second favorite team in this competition after Chelsea, obviously. I really enjoy watching Leeds. And obviously, as you know, boys, Harry Kewell, Mark Viduka, got a lot of Australian connection with Leeds. So the Aussie boys know what Leeds are all about. But before we talk about Leeds, Liverpool, Scott, I feel like they may have a sneak chancey. They're just getting back into it. Their form doesn't look that bad in recent times. Obviously, 2 draws in between. Mane is starting to score a few goals. Salah is getting in the mix with some assists, some goals as well. By the way, I've triple captain Salah for this fantasy league, so hopefully he goes out there and pumps some goals against Man United. But then again, I hope Man United wins. So that we're clear. Let's get that out of the way. But Scott, Liverpool. I mean, if Leicester and West Ham, I don't know if they're capable of winning 3 out of 3. If these two kind of sort of keeps dropping points, you know Liverpool's quite capable to win the last 4, yeah?
If I had to put money on it, and you heard it here first, Liverpool are finishing 4th.
Ooh! Can someone just check what the odds are? Can someone just check what the odds are?
Whatever they are, I don't condone gambling because
me neither.
We've got a horrible track record in our punters club. But you know what? If someone said to me, you've got to put money on Leicester, West Ham, or Liverpool, I'm going Liverpool, and I'm actually feeling really confident they'll make it. Now, I can't see them getting a result against United, but their other 3 games. They've got West Brom, Burnley, and Palace. I see them winning all 3. Now, with Leicester, I look at their games and I don't see them winning all 3. Yeah. I see them struggling in all 3. In terms of West Ham, the problem for them is they're starting behind because Liverpool have that game in hand.
Yep.
And Brighton are playing some decent football. So I see Brighton giving them a bit of a run. I really think Liverpool sneak in 4th place.
Yeah, I think if they end up beating Man United, RJ, then
that's where it's tough. Yeah, I think we'll get a bit of an insight into that. Yeah, I don't know. United's going to be a tough nut to crack, but the other 3 fixtures I see is pretty straightforward. If they get the morale boosting win against United, then I'm pretty sure you can just, immediately give them the 9 points because I think they'll be buoyed by that.
Yeah, and no European football, no nothing, only just the Premier League games to look forward to. Obviously, we've got the FA Cup final to come. We've got the Champions League final, whole heap of fixtures in between as well. So, and Man United's got the Europa final coming up. And Man United's got some madness of a fixture. I think they're playing like 3 games in like 5 or 6 days. So that's insane. And it's something that Liverpool probably take a bit of advantage of. Yeah, you know what? I could probably picture Liverpool sneaking in. As I said, though, I would love to see Leicester hold on to that, but I don't know how they do because we are going to play them, and I don't want to lose that, to be honest. Just the way we're going to talk about Arsenal next up. Leicester's another team that absolutely schooled us in January, and I don't want to lose that or even draw against them. I do want to put them away. We have them in the FA Cup as well in the final, so I do want to put them away twice, back to back. Boys, let's just quickly wrap up the top 4 conversation. Obviously, Man City will go on and win this. I mean, there's no doubt. I can't see how they keep losing and Man United wins. It'll just be madness. It has to be Man City. We'll wrap things up next week, hopefully, or in the upcoming game. Man United probably finish 2nd as well. I think we're locked in for 3rd now. I'm pretty confident we are locked in for 3rd. The conversation now is really for 4th. I'll start with you, RJ. Who do you reckon will finish 4th?
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with Scott here. I do. I really do. I think Liverpool will get there. I don't know. He's convinced me, but it looks that way. Leicester's not convincing me at the moment. But yeah, it looks like unfortunately the Reds will somewhat salvage their season. And
you know what? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did mention that he's going to have to rotate because it's impossible to play 3 games in 5 days. So there's no way they're going to play with this full strength team in all of those games. They may possibly play for Liverpool, maybe not the one after, but Liverpool's got a very big chance here to beat Man United. They're going to have to anyway. Scott, you're still sticking with Liverpool to be 4th and Leicester out?
I feel like changing because I hate when RJ and I agree. You know what? No, I'm going to stick to my guns and go with Liverpool. Yeah.
You should pick Arsenal, Scott. Maybe Arsenal getting there.
I reckon even if they have six
know,
points for each wins, and they still won't be able to make it.
for those that don't know, it probably seems like RJ and I strongly dislike each other, but we've known each other nearly 15 years or something like that. We went to high school together. So
the worst 15 years of my life.
Nonsense. he had a lot more hair when I first met him.
I love these boys. Look, I completely understand that you guys going with Liverpool, which makes sense, but I'm going to stick with Leicester. I think they might just stick it around. I know they may not win against us, but perhaps they'll get the other two, and that may just be enough for them to, keep the place. Boys, I now want to look forward to our next game, which, as you can see, there you go, Arsenal in the ladder, 52 points. I did mention we're going to talk about Leeds. Maybe we'll talk about Leeds right at the end. It is a fantastic story, to be honest. But, Arsenal, 52 points, 15 wins, 7 draws, 13 losses. Wow. I think that those losses, there's a lot of losses at home as well, I believe, if I'm right. But let's have this conversation. Scott, I remember December, I was moving into that game against you guys, and I remember I had a pre-match live stream, and I was so confident, Scott, because you guys were rubbish at that point in December. You were just losing, and we were the first win after 2 months for you. I think it was after 2 months of losses and draws, we were the first win. And I was devastated, Scott. I was devastated after the match. I didn't even want to do the review because I just felt so shattered because it's a team that just kept on losing. And on top of that, it was not even your first team. It was like a C team. It had all these youngsters. Saka, I'm pretty sure Martinelli played as well. I was like, oh my God, look at our superstar team and look at this team. And we've just been absolutely battered. Xhaka comes in with a free kick goal as well. Like, he barely ever does that and just, has a reserve for us. Talk me through that moment, and obviously what transpired after. We'll talk about that. But talk me through that particular game. How did you feel after that? And did you think that, maybe this could be the turnaround? Maybe Arteta is the man?
Look, for me, when we got rid of Unai Emery, thanks to Cled. G'day, mate. When we got rid of Unai Emery, I was conflicted about who I wanted to come in. The one thing I had in my head was that I wanted a manager to come in who had experience. Because we were not in a good way, and we, at the best of times, have a divided fan base. Yeah. So we needed someone to come in with experience. Arteta's name was floating, but was not one that we gave a lot of solidity to. Then when he was announced, to me, you back your manager, right? You guys go through managers every couple of weeks, so you understand you've got to back the person at the helm.
Yeah.
We've been on a journey with this guy, and there's always that period where you need to give them time. We had the FA Cup win, which papered over some cracks, but we've not seen the best of this squad. I struggle to believe, and all banter aside for you boys, I'm sure you'd agree, but a squad that boasts a guy like Bern Leno in goals, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Saka, who's just been brilliant, even someone like Nicolas Pepe, who's full of potential, but hasn't hit the heights. Like, with some of those guys in that team, we should be much higher than 9th.
100%.
100%.
You got Gabriel as well in defense, who's not a bad defender at all.
David Luiz.
We were linked with Gabriel.
Yeah, like I just, to me, I've backed Arteta, but in my head and in my heart, I've never believed he was the man who was going to take us to heights. And people say it's the players, but you know what? Look at your boys. Prime example. You were below us at one point. I'm sure you were below us at one point.
We were just before Frank Lampard got sacked. We were literally a point behind you guys momentarily.
And look at you, and RJ knows this. I always get called a closet Chelsea fan, but I respect your club's
I get called an Arsenal fan. It's a thing. It's a thing in my fan base. They think I'm an Arsenal fan.
We'll swap. No chance.
There you go.
And I called this to RJ. He'll tell you on the pod. The minute I saw you guys play maybe 3-4 games under Tuchel, instantly I said, you guys are the real deal. I predicted Chelsea to make and win the Champions League very early on. And again, RJ, as much as he likes to throw me under the bus, he'll back me on that because you've got the players on paper and you've got a manager now who gets the best out of them, who commands their respect. To me, one of the biggest problems with Arteta, the thing that worries me most and why I would like a change at the helm, I feel like he overcoaches. If you watch our games, he's on that sideline. Anytime a player has a ball, it's almost like they're waiting for Arteta to call out which way to pass it, what to do.
There's actually an article on it. A journalist actually mentioned this because he was apparently in Emirates Stadium watching the game live. And he goes, I've seen a lot of games live. I've seen a lot of managers, but I've never seen a manager like Arteta that is literally barking orders on every single play and to every single player. And he was like, surely that's a little bit ridiculous. Like, you got to allow the
players. There's no freedom there. There's no autonomy. There's no independence. These players that do not have that ability to play what's in front of them. And that's the problem when you don't balance tactical knowledge of what your role is versus the circumstances unfolding in front of you. And that's the problem. I agree, Scott.
Yeah, Aubameyang doesn't need someone on the sideline telling him exactly where to move, when to move. The guy's been banging in goals for fun all over Europe for his whole career. He doesn't need that. As much as I'm not a big Xhaka fan, but I have confidence that he knows how to play a pass. He doesn't need to be told. Part of the problem we're having at the back is, and I mean, Arsenal have never been renowned for their defense, right? But when you're playing so slowly at the back, you lose that chance to take the opponent by surprise because when you've got the numbers and you've got the overlap, we're stopping and passing them backwards again, which means you can reset your shape.
Scott, what was that against Villarreal? Because I watched that game and I was like, do Arsenal think they're ahead in this game? Because that was pedestrian how slow they were. I'm like, RJ, I want to bring you in just quickly. Had it been us, argument's sake, against Real Madrid behind, you know we'd be throwing the kitchen sink. You know we'd be bringing the game to them. We would not be sitting back like that, passing sideways. I was in shock how easy and just, it's like they were just thinking, we just need one goal and we'll get it. We'll
get it later.
Yeah, we'll get it sometime. Do you know what I mean? We're just not going to let Villarreal come at us. But RJ, what was your thought just quickly on that match against Villarreal? I'm not sure if you watched it, RJ. But if you have,
I got the live commentary from Scott, which wasn't as it was a little bit colourful, some of his description of how Arsenal are performing. But I did catch it afterwards, and I have to say the words pedestrian, lackluster, underwhelming describe that effort because, like you said, it was almost, if you didn't know what the aggregate score was at the time, you would be genuinely confused about who's in control. And that's the problem. When it's a tight game or it's a tight sort of overall score aggregate, there's nothing wrong with balancing the way you strategically approach your attacks. But when you're not actually doing anything at all, and it's just as if you are playing for a 0-0, that's when a fan base like Scott, the loyal gunner, which I'll give him credit for, he's a loyalist, you're going to ask questions and you have every right to be frustrated because if you're going to go down, you might as well go down 2-0, 3-0, then passively take a 0-0 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of that? It's a knockout competition. Go all in or nothing. That's it.
We sat back. Well, I sat back as a fan, and in my head, I'm just like, all right, let's go. Push forward. We're just waiting for a gap. We're just looking at, there's an overlap here. And every time it would end up back at Leno's feet. And then one player that gets a whole bunch of stick from our fan base is Bellerin, right? Now, he can be error prone. But in his defense, I watched that game, and every time he'd receive the ball with these horrible back passes or sideways passes, the guy's got the sideline right beside him, and 2 or 3 Villarreal players pressing him. Of course he's going to make a mistake. We were too slow, and that's been a tangent this season, just that slow build-up play. It's really worrying, but our problems run a fair bit deeper than just that, boys. It's, I'm the thing, and I hate saying it, but in modern football, I used to always give RJ stick in high school. I'd say, you guys aren't a football club, you're a business. You're a business. You've got this owner. And now, though, football itself is a business.
And we're just countering that, Scott. What did I used to say to you in return? You said we are a business, and I said we are. We're in the business of winning, and that's what we did. And that's ruthless, bud. You're right. Go on. Yeah, sorry, I had to say that.
We have owners who haven't been putting their own money in the club. When they have, it's been because we've been in bed with agents like that Kia Jarabchin. We've ended up with players like Willian on ridiculous wages for 3 years. There's big problems. I'm envious of the fact that you guys have a big club mentality where, you know what, it doesn't matter that Lampard was one of, if not your greatest ever player.
Yeah.
You weren't performing. We've backed you. See you later. We're going to bring someone in. I wish we were more cutthroat, but we're not.
And let's talk a little bit about this and talk a little bit about, obviously, the owners that you were saying. It's a lot deeper than Arteta. And I'll get RJ into the mix as well here and get your thoughts as well, Scott. I'll go with you, RJ. A lot of people, and I was talking about this with the boys, Kishan and Amir, yesterday with the Chelsea News segment because it just came up. Because Amir was saying that he was a bit unhappy when Frank Lampard got sacked. And I had to sort of interject there and let him know that, look, Amir, well, take the emotions aside for a second, that Frank Lampard's the legend of the club, which is fantastic. We all understand he is a fantastic player. He's given us so much joy. But Chelsea Football Club simply cannot endure that level of mediocrity the way we did for the month of December and January, the way we got slapped up by Arsenal, the way I felt violated by Man City. I felt ashamed to be in the same pitch against Man City. I felt like saying, you know what, boys, you guys are too good. I'm going to pack my bags. I'm going to leave because this is a mismatch. And then the way we got schooled against Leicester, it looked like Leicester had just leapfrogged us in terms of footballing abilities like years. Do you know what I mean? And we should be ahead of them. And I thought, enough's enough. Like, Frank Lampard's a legend, I get that. But we need to save Chelsea Football Club now. We said it before the season started. Our squad, on paper, probably after Man City, had the best squad. Just simply had the best squad. We had such glamorous players, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, Ben Chilwell, Thiago Silva, and all these other players that we bought as well in between. I just knew that our team, in default, like whether Frank Lampard's a great manager or not, but by default should just be higher up in the table. Do you know what I mean? Because looking at the previous season from Frank Lampard, he did the madness with the transfer ban and whatnot, came fourth. I thought with this, you're going to just by default just be good anyway. But it didn't happen. And what I want to ask you, RJ, is that how much do you like that factor about Chelsea Football Club that we are not messing around? We are not here for the emotions. I mean, football has a lot of emotions, but Chelsea Football Club's best interest comes first.
Yeah, well, I'll caveat first up by saying, I was one of the many fans that were torn and conflicted and hurt by it, like anybody, naturally, of course, because he was a legend, and it's difficult with football being such an emotional sport, and that's why we support it ultimately, because we have an attachment to it. Obviously, it's overlaid by the fact that we find it difficult, a lot of fans, to separate the player from the manager notion. But I think what's come to surface is that when you take a step back, and now that we've got a good sample size of what we've seen with Tuchel, is that despite us not maybe wanting to agree with it, the best decision for the club was made at the time in terms of trying to get the club. And you look at the statement, the reason why they got rid of him, which Roman for the first time had actually come out and publicly addressed it because of the gravity of it, there was no path to sustainable improvement. And that was the problem. We had these up and down results. And at the end of the day, when the owners of any club, especially one that's as committed as our one, has committed so much funds, time and energy into building the club or shaping it into what it's become today, where the expectations, the branding, etc., he has every right to have that say. And he did deliver that sort of devastating news with a lot of poise and class. And ultimately, the decision to bring him in has been vindicated. So in terms of your question, how do I enjoy the fact that our club's willing to do that? I'm really appreciative as a fan that there's someone level-headed in those positions making the decision for the best interests for the medium and long-term future of the club. Because if you ask some fans, there are some players or past players or people that have affinities to the club that are untouchable. And again, while we hurt and mourn the fact that we had to make that difficult decision, it's been offset by the fact of the dramatic U-turn in form. And now we're in an FA Cup final and Champions League final. So yeah, very happy that
still
the
in the
club
top four race
is
as well.
about us.
Absolutely.
So yeah, very happy about that. Definitely.
Yeah, and this is what I want to now ask you, Scott. How much does it hurt? You know, had you had an owner like Roman Abramovich, you know Arteta was gone in December. There's no way he would have gone. He would have lasted, what it was, a two months of not winning and drawing. After the first month, you know Roman Abramovich would have pulled the plug and said, you know what, I've seen enough. How does it make you feel as a fan of Arsenal Football Club, knowing that I can't believe this was once upon a time the Invincibles? As you can see, Thierry Henry's, jersey just behind you. Like, he would have been embarrassed to be part of that team that was losing for two months. Like, he's an Arsenal legend. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame as well, right? In the Premier League, with Alan Shearer.
The first inductees.
Yeah. So how does it make you feel, man, during that time that no change was happening? Or were you one of the fans that you thought maybe at that point the change wasn't needed?
No, look, he just simply hasn't done enough. And again, one thing with your fan base is you might be split on particular players, but you're lucky if you can find a Chelsea fan that's split on the owner or the way the club's run. Maybe around Lampard sacking. But for us at the moment now, there's this split again. You've got your Arteta in and your Arteta out. And the Arteta in people will accuse you of not being loyal. Will say that you're a negative fan, you don't love the club, you only want to be there in the negative times. But then your people who are Arteta out are saying, look where we are. We're ninth. Just with Aubameyang alone, in that squad, you should be higher than ninth. If you can unlock him and his potential, like he carried us that season. There's too much underachieving, Miz. From the way we handled COVID, making so many staff redundant, but then giving Willian the wages he's getting, to sacking our mascot, we're shambolic at the moment, and it does hurt because you love your club and you want to see them achieve. And I'm not expecting the Cronkies to pour in the kind of funds that Roman does pour in, because I know that at the end of the day, they're businessmen only, whereas Roman's a fan and a businessman. But just something better than what we've got. To me, the owners have to go. The relationship's irreparable now.
How are you treating the recent news where they're saying that obviously Arteta's still in? We'll get to that Spotify owner, but Kroenkes are saying that looks like Arteta's still going to stay, and he's going to get a 200 million budget apparently. Like, is that something that's going to change your opinion? That, you know what? Okay, if they inject the funds, maybe we can get behind Arteta. But have you seen enough from Arteta to say that this guy can do the madness with that type of money?
Miss, I've got a 2-year-old. Okay. I've got a 2-year-old, and he's going somewhere. He's asleep at the moment. He's a good little boy. There are times when he shows me tremendous potential. He can do things. I'm like, man, you're really smart. You take after your dad. You're a good kid. But you know what? I'm not giving him the keys to the car or the house. Right? He may have moments where he's amazing, and I love him to death, but he ain't getting the keys to the car. He's not the man of the house. because he's still too little. I see Arteta that way. I'm not giving Arteta 200 million. Someone who gives Willian, and I keep bringing him up, anyone who would give Willian a contract under their watch, no, I'm sorry, I'm not trusting
3 years. 3-year contract.
Hey, Miz, we've got a couple of good players for you, Scott. Denny Drinkwater, Alonso. We've got a few players you can take off our hands for a good price.
Take Mori off your hands. I don't mind him.
Oh man, he's set. He's set for AC Milan, man. He's set.
But yeah, I just look. The word on the street is Arteta will be given time. Arteta will be given 200 million. I'm skeptical about the 200 million. Look at the finances on the Pepe deal. Everyone says you spend, 60, 70 million. We're paying like £3 million installments over 15 years or something. Like it's a ridiculously structured deal. So, I'm skeptical that they'll back him with 200 million. I'll be shocked if they do.
Yeah.
Secondly, is he the man that I trust to spend 200 million to improve us? And the answer is no. I don't. I don't trust him. Saka came through under Emery. Emile Smith-Rowe came out of desperation, and they're two of the people he gets big credit for. But I don't trust him with that. But you know what? The new season will roll up. He'll still be in charge. We'll have signed some new players, and the excitement begins all over again, man. It's how football works. Yeah, it's the hope that kills you. But even though at the moment I don't want to see him back, and I don't want him trusted with 200. If he's there, I'll still back him, and I'll still want to win every single match convincingly. So,
Scott, how's he still here though? Just explain to me. I mean, we've talked about all of that December stuff, but now your season's finished. You're out of Europe.
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Like you literally have nothing to play for. I don't even know
who's some better options. Who's some better options, maybe? Is that what they're thinking?
Yeah, but you know what? If we pulled the trigger around about the same time, or actually not when you sack Lampard because things turn around, but if we pulled the trigger a little bit earlier, maybe we could have chased.
I reckon even a month earlier, just a month ago.
Maybe that would be appealing to a manager. They could come in and say, oh, they're in a Europa League semi-final. I fancy coming in and putting in that new manager bounce. It's too little too late. And now we're even less appealing next season with no European football.
Yeah.
So, you can maybe bring in Poch after PSG sacking for not winning League One.
I thought you were about to say Scott Parker. I was going to throw the laptop off the table.
Hey, Scott Parker, put some respect. I like Scott Parker, man.
He wouldn't go anyway, Miz. He doesn't want to downgrade, does he, Scott Parker?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, I don't know, Miz. I don't know how we got here, but all I can say is the owners control that decision, okay? And we're sitting in 9th with nothing to play for, out of the European Cup in the semis, disappointingly. There's your answer. That's their ambition. That's where they're at. If that's good enough for them, that tells you exactly why I've got a big problem with our owners. It's not good enough for me.
Tell me a little bit about this Spotify owner, man. Is this legit? Like Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira? I feel like this is just made up stories, man. I don't think these guys are serious.
It's gone quiet for one of two reasons. In business, my opinion is you don't put it's like poker. You don't put all your cards on the table and brag about what you've got. He's planted a seed. He's come out and said he's interested. He's recruited some really good mouthpieces in guys like Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira, because you get the fans on side.
Yeah.
Now, he's either waiting quietly, watching this season finish and planning his bid, or was a little bit of smoke and waters. It was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, some talk when we were in low, and he's kind of realised, hold on, things are going pretty well with Spotify. Maybe I don't want to get in the football game. I would take a Saudi prince happily. I would send RJ to their country.
You need some Arab money, man. You need some Arab money.
I would send RJ wherever they need him in exchange for that money.
Hey, we get along. Don't worry. I get along with everybody. No problem.
Charm us a prince, man. Charm us a prince.
No, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. Guys, we've got almost 50 people here. Smash the like button if you're enjoying this conversation so far. This is the boys from down under. This is what we're going to call this show next season. The boys from down under with the Aussie boys. Obviously, Scott being an Arsenal fan, RJ myself, Chelsea fan. We'll have Robert down the track, which is another one of Scott and RJ's mate, who's a Man United fan, and maybe we can do something special for next season and call it the Boys Down Under show. But let's now spend a little bit of time talking about the Chelsea versus Arsenal game that's coming up. RJ, I'll go to you first up. I don't want any sympathy for this football club, Arsenal. I want a whooping 6-0 victory or nothing. I want to put the salt when they're on the wound. I want to kick them while they're down. I want to make them cry because, as I said, I need retribution. I need retribution for that defeat in December. And I feel like Thomas Tuchel,
Not just that one. Don't forget the FA Cup final rigging as well.
We should have won that. It was madness from the referee, Kovacic getting red carded and this and that. But you know what? Look, they came back, so I'm not going to have that. We had our issues with Pulisic getting injured, and it just all went pear-shaped. But RJ, Thomas Tuchel, I feel the boys will let him know. And I'm pretty sure Thomas Tuchel would have seen that result as well, that what Arsenal did. Do you feel, even if, let's say, now it kind of looks like we are almost there, but it's still important to put them away and absolutely confirm the fact that we're going to be in top 4. Like, we are 100% going into this match with the mentality that we have to beat these guys, and then we confirmed almost top 4, right? You know
what? On principle, that's right, 100%. That's the emotional side of you talking now, Miz. That's the whole, we want to go in there, all gunners blazing, so to speak, and take out the dirty Arsenal, the dirty London is red or North London is red team. But you know what? I think the City result sort of maybe conflicted us a little bit, not in terms of going for it, but now that we have a little bit of a cushion, I feel like there's less intensity now. Like if we had lost to City or didn't get the result and the top 4 races a little bit tighter, then I think 120% we've got to go full best 11. But there's a part of me that wants us to not pick the full strength team, but hope that they can still do a madness on them, because it's like a little bit of extra salt in the wounds to say we beat you even without our best. Because part of not using our best is for the FA Cup final. That's what I'm trying to think ahead as well. Because I'm a little. There's going to be rotation, RJ. I think there will be rotation. There's got to be. But I hope that Tuchel gets them in their mindset that even though we're sitting pretty in the top 4, if this goes pear-shaped against Arsenal, who have a motivation to want to prove that they're the better team in London, they better come there and turn up, because, Arsenal, I've said this many times on our podcast, Arsenal's like a Jekyll and Hyde team. If they get it right, they can really surprise a few people. So it's up to us to not let them get it right, because on balance of things, if both of us are playing to our potential, then reality says that we should win this game. So I'm just hoping that we turn up with the right mindset and not walk in there with that complacent attitude and just thinking about the FA Cup final. Because if we do that, we're going to be in for a rude shock again. And my health concerns won't allow me to tolerate such a bad result again. 100%.
Look, you know what? Under Thomas Tuchel, I love the way this man speaks in the press conference. And he said it in the last one, post-match, that we need to have a level of consistency for 3 to 4 years, because at the moment, Bayern Munich and Man City, in his opinion, are the benchmarks in Europe. Obviously, Man City is the benchmark in the Premier League, and he's put down the gauntlet. Do you know what I mean? He said 3 to 4 years minimum, that consistency. I'm not going to get excited just by all of this recent stuff. I need to see this team be consistently winning, ruthlessly winning for 3 to 4 years. Do you know what I mean?
And he also said in one of the conferences, one of the reporters said, what do you have to do with your team? This is before the Madrid game or before the Porto game. What does Chelsea have to do to take their game to the next level? And his answer was, maybe the next level is keeping ourselves at the same level. And that's that whole consistency approach. And I really thought that was a strong message, because naturally you'd say, we need to do X, Y, and Z. But he said, no, the way we're playing is up here. It's staying up here, not declining. That's the real challenge. And that comes back to that 3 to 4 year principle, and just maintaining that ruthless execution, because that's where teams get found out.
No, 100% right. Scott, how does Arsenal approach this match? I mean, obviously still a massive game, London derby. I mean, But you know how players are, right? Like when there's nothing to play, you guys are out of Europa. Probably, I mean, are you guys going to be able to make the Europa League if you end up winning your remaining matches, or not really?
Oh, I think is that third conference competition starting next season?
Or like what, into Toto Cup?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? To jump on what you were saying, Miz, you obviously don't watch enough Arsenal, my man, because we do our best work when there is absolutely no pressure, nothing to play for. Look, Willian, 37 games.
Nothing goal.
There's finally no pressure on him. No one expecting him to score.
Bangs in a goal.
Whatsoever, and boom, bangs in one of those free kicks. Yeah, you guys sold us the dream. You told us we get one good performance every 10 games. The ratio is to one every 37. Come on.
I don't know if you saw this.
You got to start the season, mate.
Yeah.
not for us.
Scott, I was watching Mo, right? Mo, I really enjoy watching Mo. I'm going to try and bring Mo one day to my channel if I can. He's one that I really enjoy watching from the Arsenal Fan TV because he's not all about banter and all of that and just rant. Yeah, he's a clever person. He really is. He really is a clever person. And he was saying that they asked him, "Hey, Willian scored," and he's like, "I mean, this." He goes, "This is so ironic for Arsenal, you know, in a nothing match, a nothing player scored a nothing goal. Like it just made me laugh the way he sort of delivered that. I was like, oh my God, that's so Willian, put down to the T. Look, there were times where he delivered for us, like especially last season, along with Pulisic. I would have to say Willian was one of the instigators to help us through post-lockdown, when the restart happened. Pulisic, Giroud, Mason Mount, Willian was there as well. But if you look at Willian's overall career in Chelsea, it's not been good. And I'm so surprised that you guys gave someone at the age of, I think he was 31, 32, right? When he just last season, when he signed for Arsenal. I'm just absolutely bamboozled by the fact that he's gone over there. But yeah, I mean, so you think that the Arsenal boys are really going to show up for this particular match, yeah?
Look, I'm not saying we're going to win it. But I think RJ's hopes for 6 goals. No, I think he's missed the mark a little bit. Someone said in the chat he spits bare facts. I think it said
I'll bring this up again. I'll bring this up.
Yeah, no, RJ's spitting bare nonsense there of 6-0. It's not going to be.
Come on, Chelsea. Come on, Chelsea.
Yeah. Knowing my luck now, it's going to be 6-0, and that clip will go viral.
And I will clip that.
6 goals.
Thanks, Miz. No, look, I think it's going to be probably a tighter game than expected. You are in much better form than us. You will still want to win this game to secure top 4.
For sure.
It's too tight to come into a complacent, and you'll probably want a little bit of revenge. But on our day, and I've seen it over the years, it's a pattern. When there's no pressure, we play better. Under Arteta, we have stepped up and performed against bigger opposition a little bit better, and we're not playing at home, which is where we've been dreadful. So I'm actually thinking it might be a little bit tighter than 6-0, potentially a 1-1 draw.
What?
I think I wouldn't be shocked even if we snatched it 2-1. Stranger things have happened.
Scott, have you seen our defense? Have you seen our defense, Scott? Have you seen? And don't tell me about the West Brom game. I know you guys put away West Brom, but that was just an anomaly.
I did see the defense against West Brom.
That was just an anomaly. You would have seen us against Real Madrid. You would have seen how we absolutely rinsed them off the park in the second leg and even in the first leg as well. You would have seen us against Atletico Madrid. You guys can't even beat Villarreal. You can't even beat Villarreal. We have beaten Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid.
Miz, beating you in this fixture would be the most Arsenal thing for Arsenal to do. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me because I can just see it now. Well, if we were to beat you, and look, realistically, I'm going a 1-1 draw. All right?
Yeah.
Put that down on paper, 1-1 draw. But I'm saying if we were to beat you, I can see it now. Everyone in our fan base will say, Arteta, it's right to keep him for next season. Then we'll get to the 10th round next season. We'll probably be sitting in 12th. and will want to sack him again.
So it's
But
one of
people
those
say, "No,
cases, isn't it? It's one of those cases where if you're an Arsenal fan, do you even really want Arsenal to win this game, given what the implications might be?
Scott's been on the sideline. Man, I've got work tomorrow. No siders for me. No, look, that's one thing. There are some Arsenal fans coming out and saying, I hope we lose so Arteta gets sacked. I never want him to lose, man. I don't care if we're playing the under sixes down the road. Like, I want to smash them. No mercy. I want to win every match. I don't care. I don't care if it was to get Arteta sacked. I want to win the match. And I know the players, knowing what we do, will probably turn up and play better than we have in recent times. But
as long as you don't
like
celebrate
this
that,
is apt.
yeah,
this is
exactly.
Apt. This is apt.
I was gonna say, Miz, as long as the Arsenal fan base doesn't celebrate that Martinelli 2-2 equaliser like the 2-2 score that we had at the new camp, as long as that's not the same sort of celebration.
Their admin is still retweeting that. I find that very, very odd. Like, honestly, Scott, okay. How's your admin still tweeting that, man? How's he, like, that's unbelievable.
Boys, you're in a Champions League final. Stop worrying about what our admin are doing, all right? You've got some stuff to look forward to. If we're getting some kicks out of watching that world-class, top-quality goal, just let us enjoy ourselves, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
They should just be reading
on the channel that way. All right.
Scott will tell you my favourite goal that I just keep watching over and over again, like 50 times a day, is just the Essien Thunderbolt against Arsenal Stamford Bridge, that 35-yard rocket.
The one that just curved in like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a game we were losing, though, right, RJ?
Yeah, it was 1-0 at the time, 1-1.
Yeah, we were losing.
And then he ends up, and then Essien ends up missing from 2 yards out. It hits the bar in the 90th minute somehow, and they finished 1-1.
I remember you coming to school that day, biggest smile on your face, man. He had these adorable curls in his hair, big sausage roll in his hand. It made his day, not mine. I was just glad we didn't have many classes together.
You know what? All banter aside, though, Scott, you've seen Chelsea in recent times under Thomas Tuchel. What do you think, man? Our structure, defensive structure, the way we're playing in midfield, the way we're pressing, counter-pressing, and the amount of chances that we're creating, we just don't put them away that often enough. In recent times, we have been scoring more than 1 goals. Every now and then we're scoring the 2 goals. Palace put them away 4. Genuinely speaking now, like, do you feel the level of football that we're playing, this will be a massive challenge for Arsenal? Or do you think, as you said, on your day, you guys can play football as well? Or how are you looking at this?
No, look, you're the better team at the moment by far. Like, and there's a reason that about 8 weeks ago I called you guys to make them win the Champions League final. It didn't take long under Thomas Tuchel to see that he'd been watching these players and he knew how to get the best out of them. Like, you've got a player who I absolutely adore and wish was one of ours in Mason Mount.
Oof, I need to clip this. You know what, Scott, just before you continue, you are like the 10th opposition fan that I've had here, and every single one of them, I did not even ask them. They voluntarily said, we will take Mason Mount from you. I mean,
we can't afford it.
Incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. I'm pretty sure he'll never go, but continue. Yeah, you were going to say something about Mason Mount.
He's got your players clicking, and Havertz, has he been playing more in a false 9-ish kind of role? It's funny. Werner was the one brought in to play up front and be banging in all the goals. Havertz was brought in to be assisting the goals. They've kind of flipped. I think that's a credit to Tuchel in, looking at the players he's got and figuring out a system to get the best out of them. The thing for you guys is you probably could tell me, if you took the rotation factor out for the Champions League and FA Cup, you could probably tell me your starting lineup. Whereas for me...
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty close, yeah.
A core problem for us is I couldn't tell you what our starting lineup will be. We have a different back four every week. Our midfield rotates. I don't know who will be there. We don't know who will be playing on the wings. It's going to be interesting, but there's some really good young English talent. I'm looking forward to seeing, Emile Smith-Rowe, Mason Mount going head-to-head. I'm looking forward to seeing Saka, Chilwell on there. there's some really high quality in our squad too. Like we're no slouches, even though we're playing like them at the moment. There's some players there who can take a game by the scruff of the neck, and I do think it's going to be close. I can't see it blowing out, much to the disappointment of your viewers and Mr. RJ.
I feel like we're in an absolute high at the moment. Like 2 games we played against City. I kid you not, Scott. I'm not sure if you watched both the games. We were the better team. We were the better team. And I know a lot of people have been saying City did not have the best team. But City's got a very good second team as well. Like, let's not kid around. Their depth is unbelievable.
And then we rotated.
And we rotated as well. We had Billy Gilmore playing in the last game. We had Alonso playing in the last game, and we still did fantastically well. And in the first one, in the FA Cup semi-final, they had KDB there. In this one, they had Foden and Gundogan coming on in the second half. I want to go to you now, RJ. I feel like if we look at the 2 games from Man City, that's 2 up for Tuchel. Obviously, there's the game that we played against Real Madrid. We absolutely blew Real Madrid out of the park. But if you look at the 2 games with City, because I look at City as the benchmark in Europe at the moment, right? As I said, alongside with Bayern Munich, I feel like City, they have reached the peak. I can't see how they have more levels to go forward. Like maybe next season with more players and whatnot, maybe they can. But right now with the squad that they have, I feel like they're playing at a top level. However, our team, RJ, I feel like we are already playing at a very top level, very close to City's level. But I feel like we still have 2, 3, 4 levels that we can go with this squad, let alone buying more new players next season. Is that how you see it as well, RJ? And that's why I feel like, and I'm not being cocky, honestly, Scott, I'm not being cocky. In recent times, we have been building up a bit of a juggernaut. Do you know what I mean? Like we're going in and we're really dominating teams. I feel like this is a game we are going to cutthroat, absolutely showcase the entire world what beautiful football is all about against us. So I don't know. That's how I feel. All of these words could just come back and bite me. But Ajay, what's your feelings, man?
Yeah, no, we spoke about this recently in terms of the whole Tuchel versus Guardiola sort of regime, and we said on balance, Guardiola's demonstrated he's the more accomplished manager over a longer track record, despite him being in charge of higher caliber teams. But what I will say, and reiterating what we said during that discussion, is that Tuchel is on the rise, where Guardiola's more sort of trying to keep that level going and looking for marginal improvements because he's already at that high level. What I will say, though, in terms of City, it's an interesting point you made in terms of how many more levels they can go, if any. The thing about them that worries me, though, is that they probably recognise that as well, that they have stagnated a little bit despite dominating the Premier League, and they're probably more than a 50% chance of winning the Champions League despite our better form against them recently. But that means to me that regardless of the outcome of the Champions League final, because they've already got the Premier League sealed, they will likely go and invest significantly in the transfer market, despite them not traditionally doing so. Like I dare say that with Aguero going, they're going to buy a pretty decent striker, and they'll probably supplement a couple of players on the fringes, and therefore you start getting that extra 1 to 2, even 2.5 levels increased from this season, which is quite scary, to be honest. But for us, what gives me some cause for optimism is that look how good we're playing with a manager that's come in mid-season in a not so sensational environment in 9th spot, and now has the ability to have a full off season to work out who stays and who goes, and using the players that better fit his style and start from scratch. So when we kick off the next season, all of a sudden, we won't be on the back foot. Even though we started this season pretty well, I think we will have that much more wisdom and a lot more positive energy coming from this season's good energy that we've created. So, overall, I'm pretty confident. In terms of the Arsenal game, I do feel overall we've got enough quality and the right sort of momentum heading into this clash. Again, though, like what Scott was saying, we know that they have the ability to pull a rabbit out of a hat in a situation where they've got nothing to play for. I just hope Tuchel, like he has been doing recently, is able to help us safeguard against these traps, because I see this as a trap game for us. we do struggle against the teams that, I'm not going to call Arsenal a lower team, but you know what I mean? They're in a lower situation at the moment. So we tend to struggle against teams in lower situations. But where I think Arsenal's a bit different from those lower teams is that they're a team that likes to sort of, they're not just going to sit back and just absorb the whole game. They want to play football as well. It's just, will they be a team that lacks confidence? We'll have to find out. But I think we're going to get the job done. It's just, I don't think 6-0, that's very optimistic because we struggle to convert. 13% or 9% of our conversion rate. That's very bad. 13th in the league, as you saw the other day. So if we're going to get the job done, I can see it by a 2-3 goal margin at most.
I agree.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Just listening to you chat there about the levels with your squad and Man City's squad. Now, I look at ours, right? And I know that with the Arsenal, we need key quality signings in multiple positions. I look at your team as a neutral. Well, not even a neutral. I don't like your team, but, you know, neutral in the sense.
You either, mate. Don't worry.
I look at your team and you're both talking about signings. To me, Tuchel seems to be getting those players to click. Now, you've always got the risk when you bring in a big profile signing of upsetting that balance. And I feel like he's just starting to get on top of that Mount, Havertz, Werner, Pulisic. I feel like he's starting to get on top of that. Where do you boys see signings coming? Like, what are your priorities? Because I don't think you're getting a Haaland. I don't think you're getting someone like that. I actually see him going to City. We debated this on the pod last week, RJ, but where do you see the signings, boys? Because you're playing good football. You're probably one of the most informed teams in Europe. What's your priority?
I agree with you. As much as the priority will be to get a 20-goal striker, I think that's where we've been lacking this season. As RJ was saying, we're not converting enough. We're creating a lot of chances. Had we had like a Benzema, had we had a Harry Kane, I think this conversation's over. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'd be so much closer to City. I don't think we'd win it, but we'd be closer. But next season, if we have a 20-goal striker, we are definite title contender. So that's one spot. But the counter argument to that is, as you said, Haaland probably doesn't look likely for us. I think he's probably going City, but he may not even go anywhere this next season. He may stay one more season at Dortmund and then go after that. But if Dortmund were to sell, this is the season where they're going to get most money, because next season the release clause of, I think, 75 million kicks in. This season they can sell him for overs. But they're probably inclined to still make sure that, you know, I think they're almost confirmed for Champions League, Dortmund, so they're probably inclined to keep him another season. And they may be looking to sell Sancho this season. They are talking about letting go of Sancho. So I can't see them let go of two players in the same season. So that's one thing. Lukaku was the other sort of conversation that was floating around, which I don't think is happening anymore, because he's pretty much come out and said that he's staying at Inter Milan. They won the Scudetto over there, so he's probably looking to stay there. Harry Kane is the one where I've been trying to drum the beat hard, because I feel like he's wasting his time at Spurs. He really is. And if he's ambitious enough to win any form of sort of silverware and he wants to stay in London, well, let's be honest, he's not going to win anything with Arsenal. You guys are not in Champions League or Europa League next season.
You're talking nonsense, mate.
No, you know what though? Sort of pivoting off that though, like, yeah, definitely a prolific striker would tick a lot of boxes. But for me, I think we go.
Werner, though? Wasn't that meant to be
Werner?
Yeah,
it was, and he's still.
Or...
No, I don't think he's no chance, but I think that it's just, unfortunately, the way things are unfolding, he hasn't demonstrated reliability. And I don't think there are other players in that position that are more likely to go ahead of him. And the reality is he's still someone that he's still effective. He's still adding value. Is it the value that we wanted and paid for? No, but who knows? I think Tuchel can work his magic, and I do see him as playing as that inverted forward or left side, but not as the reliable week-to-week, match-to-match striker.
Correct.
But I was saying, coming back to the middle of the pitch, interestingly, statistically, we've created the most amount of chances, but the nuance lies in the amount of clear chances. If you look at our XG rating, the amount of clear chances, we actually rank very, very low. Like we're not even like a chance that gets created by, and Joe Tweedy explained it on Alex Goldberg's podcast earlier around, I can take a shot from 40 yards out. That's a chance created. But am I missing a chance from 6 yards out? That's a good chance created. So it's just our ability to create good chances is a problem area for us. And I think that we haven't got the balance quite right in that centre, defensive mid spot. So I definitely would be targeting a DM. And that's why the talks of Declan Rice, Chouameni from France have been spoken about. So I definitely would support that for me.
Yeah, no, you're right, RJ. And just to come back to Scott, Timo Werner can look. He's missed so many big chances. I was just tweeting the other day that if he puts those ones away next season, he'll be one of the best strikers in the world because he's already producing so many assists. His goal contribution for his first season, so-called flop season, is mind-blowing. It literally is. He's close to, now he's coming very close to 30 goal contribution.
Yeah, it's more than Hazard in his debut season. Yeah.
It's insane. The man is just literally racking up the assists, and in recent times he's putting away some goals as well. But if he next season corrects that conversion rate for the goals, I'm telling you, if he continues with the assists as well, he becomes one of the best ones in the world. But that's the thing. I don't see Timo Werner as an out-and-out striker. I see him more as an inside forward, as RJ is saying. I think he will be perfect with a Haaland or a Lukaku. Do you know what I mean? So that's why he plays really well with Kai Havertz up front lately, because we're playing him as a false nine. He loves to play with someone. He likes that freedom. Do you know what I mean? To sort of roam around and have that focal point up front. But look, I'm not going to be entirely unhappy if we don't get a striker, because what I will be unhappy with, Scott, is if we get like a second-tier striker. Do you know what I mean? Like if we get like a, I don't know,
like an Aubameyang, for example.
Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford. Did you just say Aubameyang?
Oh, did I? Maybe.
I'm bantering, man, you, and you're having a pop at me. You're an awful man.
Classic. But yeah, as I said, I don't want a second-tier striker if we can't get one of the top tiers, because I feel like our boys are good enough, are still good enough to put away the goals. As RJ said, maybe a DM, but then again, Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic with Billy Gilmour as a backup under Thomas Tuchel. These guys have made it to the Champions League final. Do you know what I mean? Like, and our record in the Premier League.
I'm concerned about Jorginho. I'm concerned that Jorginho might not hang around, not because I don't like him. Very clearly, the system, and that's another thing. Does Tuchel stay with this system? That's a question mark. But if he does stay, I'm just, I know, I'm with you on that, but I'm just concerned. Jorginho's getting a lot of interest back home in Italy, so I think that's a very much watch this space. And
wasn't there some conversation in recent times about a contract extension for Jorginho, literally like 24 to 48 hours ago?
I did hear that, but I'm just, you know, his agent. His agent's been talking a lot, as he usually does, and there's a lot of murmurs back at home. So I don't know if he stays around. It's probably not as much of a need, but I can definitely see them pursuing someone in that area, and maybe in the CV position as well.
Yeah, so bottom line, Scott, to answer your question in a long format, striker, DM, CB are the ones that we're getting linked with. Striker, don't know if we're going to get one because we want the high caliber ones. DM, as RJ said, if we do switch back to a 4 at the back and not the 3 that we're playing, and that is still to be seen, because why fix something that's not broken? Do you know what I mean? Or you could probably look at, it's called evolution. Maybe he wants to evolve and move into something different. And I'm all up for that at the moment. I completely trust Thomas Tuchel. So if he moves to the 4, then we do need a different style of DM, someone who can hold and sit back a little bit more, but still have the abilities like Jorginho and Kovacic, because I'm not going to have a DM that can't do what Jorginho does or what Kovacic does or what Kante does. Like, they got to have those abilities. And then a CB, I'm not really sure whether our CBs besides Thiago Silva are quite comfortable at a 4. We just saw against Man City where Rudiger was pushing up a little bit more towards in midfield to support Billy Gilmour, which kind of left Christensen to cover a little bit of the left side. And surprise, surprise, he has his first mistake under Thomas Tuchel where the ball goes over the top and he has to chase down Sterling, and he sort of overcommits. Ends up getting injured. Hopefully he gets better quickly. But it scares me because when Christensen plays in the middle, he's so comfortable. But whenever he has to go lateral and starts covering positions, which he's going to have to in a 4 at the back, things get a bit tricky. And that's where you need to start looking at maybe do we need a different profile of CB. So these are some of the players that we're sort of getting, positions that we're getting touted, but look, it's not concrete. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't end up getting anyone, to be honest, because we still have...
and it's a long season, isn't it, Miz, too? Like, on that point, Tuchel's come in mid-season, done wonders. Everybody's ticked and acknowledged that. But if there's any constructive criticism, it's the fact that, again, we aren't generating bucket loads of genuine good chances, as I said before, but not even just that. We've tended to struggle against the low block teams that aren't interested in playing but just trying to be resistant against us. So over a 38-game season, will the tactics that have worked so good now, will they be still as fresh and effective in the next season when other teams have had time to adjust to that? So I think that's why it's up to us and Tuchel, who I trust, to come up with some different approaches and tactics to say, if plan A is not working, we can go to plan B or plan C. So that's why that off-season, we'll get a bit more insight into how flexible he's going to be with his signings.
No, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, please smash the like button. We've got over 70 people live right now. Smash the like button if you're enjoying this as we continue our conversation. Scott, I do want to now talk about, how do you think you guys are going to shape up? Like, I know you said that you're not sure about the lineup and whatnot, but if I was to ask you, what's the lineup that you would go for against Chelsea in the upcoming match, considering how we play, how we shape up, 3 at the back and wing backs and whatnot? How are you going to sort of shape up your team and the team that you'd sort of play against us?
Again, it's really tricky for us because the lineup changes so much. With Luis out, I think you'll probably see Holding and Gabriel at the back. I think you'll see those two at the front. Gabriel's good, offers us a lot from set pieces. Right back, you kind of roll the dice, and what you get is who starts. I have a feeling it'll be Bellerin who starts.
Why doesn't he start Cedric? What's wrong with Cedric?
I think Cedric's out with an injury at the moment. He may be coming back, but probably not fit. Although Callum Chambers has been putting in really good balls from there, so could see that. Hopefully Tierney's fit. I do genuinely think he is a phenomenal player. He's done a
caused a lot of issues for us the last game.
Him and Saka,
the FA Cup as well.
Him and Saka on that same side did damage. So if it's me, I don't change that. I'm going with Tierney and Saka up ahead, playing up on the left. Pepe's been getting the nod the last few games. He's someone who can play. But I think Saka won't. Someone was asking in the comments if Saka will play left back. No, Tierney seems fit. So if Tierney's fit, I think Tierney plays left back. Saka plays attacking on the left. Lacazette, Aubameyang, again, roll of the dice, man. You don't know with Arteta. It's so hard to predict lineups.
He's not playing both of them together anymore, is he?
No, we're not seeing it anymore. We had some really good success last season with Aubameyang coming in off the left, a little bit like what you guys were saying with Werner. And Lacazette up the front. But, I think Lacazette might play up front in this one. So it's just really hard, man. It's hard for me to piece together because it changes so much. But if Xhaka's still out, you'll probably see Ceballos in the middle. And who plays with him? Maybe Elneny. Maybe Thomas Partey. Depends on.
By the way, what's your thoughts on Partey, man? Some are saying flop of the year.
Nah, not flop of the year. He hasn't even been there like the full year. He came in. He gone his Atletico Madrid career with no injuries, Miz. He never had an injury. Comes to Arsenal, injuries. So for him, having that time out and coming back in, that's something new for him to adapt to. He then had to adapt to a new league, new team.
Hang on a minute. You told me on our pod and stuff when you were criticising Werner, when I said all of these acclimatisation issues, no, they're good players. They don't need to worry about that.
How the tables turn.
I think it's fair to say that Thomas isn't having a great Partey at Arsenal at the moment.
Now, look,
would you say, Scott?
He's one of these guys, though, that does seem sloppy in possession, but he's only seeming sloppy in possession because he's getting involved in everything. He's chasing everything. And I'd rather a guy who chases every ball making some mistakes than a guy who doesn't chase every ball. So he is making mistakes, but he's not one of these guys playing it backwards or playing it side to side. When he gets it, he's trying to go forward. The only thing that burns me is when he shoots. Every time he shoots, it's just you've got more chance of hitting someone's car or one of us down under than you do hitting the goal. His shots have just been so.
I mean, he's not a goal scorer, right? He's not. I don't even remember him being a goal scorer in Atletico Madrid.
He still manages to pop a shot every game, and it's such a momentum killer because we'll build a bit of forward momentum, then he'll pop some careless shot. But I think the best is yet to come. I'm by no means writing him off because I always say my biggest trait that I look for in a player is their work rate. That's a football manager.
Nonsense. He's a poor man's Kante.
Well, look, if he can hit Kante's heights, I'll be a very happy fan. But yeah, I wouldn't say flop of the year. No, that's a bit of a stretch.
Many are saying he's probably the worst signing so far. But look, he's a quality player, no doubt. I'm just trying to think.
William.
Yeah. But then that was given. I don't think he should be even considered to be a flop of the year. Is he? He's already there. He owns that area. So, I mean, look, completely understand. He's a quality player, Partey. We've seen him enough in Atletico Madrid to state that there's a very, very good player in there, and he'll come good. There's no doubt about that. I test Merchant. It's been so long, my man. I don't get to see. I don't know if you're busy or whatnot. I used to be in the streams. I don't even get to see you much in Matisse's stream, but glad to have you back. Thank you so much for the super chat. Arsenal always turn up against us, even bad form. True. We only need to look at the December situation where they were losing for 2 months and we were the first one that they beat, which is crazy. RJ, just from your perspective, before we wrap things up, you're looking at some rotations for this match. For obviously, we're not doing a proper preview here. I just wanted to get some, because I've got a whole heap of, I think, by the way, is the press conference tomorrow? Live chat, confirm with me as well if the press conference tomorrow. I think the press conference is tomorrow, isn't that?
I believe so.
But,
yeah. I think so. I think you're right.
Look, this is an out-and-out preview, but it's good to get some insight from Scott. Obviously, I'm going to have a few guests tomorrow as well. It'll be a double upload, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow. I'll have Matisse and Dami in the early parts of the UK morning, where literally it's going to be all banter. So, Scott, don't tune in for that. It's going to be proper banter on Arsenal. We're just going to be laughing at them. But later on, if RJ is free and whatnot, we may actually do a proper preview of that match, and depending on when the press conference is and whatnot. Well, Robert here we go. Robert, man, we really missed you. Wish you were part of the squad today, but hopefully we'll have you again. But yeah, RJ, you're looking at some rotations against Arsenal, but knowing that the Leicester FA Cup game is just around the corner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I foreshadowed that earlier, but I think the answer to that, how much rotation, I don't have yet in my mind. Like I haven't crystallized what's the right balance here, because on the one hand,
go with this.
FA Cup final.
Go with this. Who would you 100% start in this match? Like players like, say, Ziyech, do you feel like they deserve to keep continuing? Obviously, they scored that equalizer. Also, let's say, I don't know, Zuma may be a man that probably plays because of the injury. Like, tell me the ones that you think 100% they should probably play.
Well, I think Mendy should start. I know that Kepa's probably earned an opportunity, but I'm thinking unless he's got some fatigue concerns, I would want to start him. I would say Ziyech, because even though he's been getting minutes lately, he's in a bit of a mini purple patch from a goal scoring perspective. So keep running with that, because I don't think he'll probably start the FA Cup final. Mason Mount's an interesting one because he was fully rested against City. So that must mean not a good sign for Arsenal if you get a fresh Mason Mount ready to come and attack you. But at the same time, again, this might be a situation where the longer we can rest him, if the other members of the squad do their job, it'll just help him all the more become even fresher for the FA Cup final. I would start him though, because he was rested and he's someone that can back it up after that. I would go with Kante again, because he did come off for a rest in the final phase against City. And in terms of the back, definitely Rudiger and definitely Azpilicueta. He's there because Christensen out. And yeah, I'm not sure. I think Billy Gilmore's probably earned another start, to be honest with you. That's probably not a guarantee, but I think he's probably up there. And Kai Havertz for me. I definitely would start him.
Yeah. Kai Havertz missed that in the last game, and Billy Gilmore is a very good shout, to be honest. Manny H, thank you, my man, so much for joining. Obviously, always appreciate your support. Kepa, Azpilicueta, Zuma, Rudiger,
Decent
RJ,
team.
Gilmore, Jorginho, Mason, Mount, Pulisic, Kai. Honestly, that's a very, very good team. It really is. I feel like Kepa might be a shout because just before the Leicester FA Cup final, I'm pretty sure Kepa will start that game. He is the cup keeper. He's been keeping throughout the cup time. So it'll be very, very sad if he doesn't get to play in the final.
Yeah, it's almost like an audition, I think we said, didn't we, in the preview, that if Kepa starts against Arsenal, that will help govern whether or not he starts in the FA Cup final. So, yeah, that's a good shout, Manny, actually.
It actually is a very good shout. Maybe rightly so for Mendy to have a bit of break as well. I mean, look, keepers generally don't need breaks, but he's been pulling out some big saves for us in recent times. So maybe a break would just give him a bit of a refresher. I wouldn't mind that at all. But, yeah, I completely get it. There could be some rotation, but even then, we should have a strong enough squad team to take care of Arsenal. And we need to take care of Arsenal, not just because of the December situation, how they beat us there, but also top four. Top four, we need to confirm it. We get this win, right. I think it's pretty much confirmed. We get this win, top four is done. I don't think the other teams can catch up to us after that. So there is a big incentive. And you want to move into the FA Cup final with a positive momentum. You want to move in with a win in your back. And not like a draw or a loss, definitely not a loss.
That's where the balance is essential. That's right, because there's a psychological element, but then as you're trading it off with the fitness element, you don't want to go in there celebrating a 3-1 victory, but you get a key injury to N'Golo Kante or a Mason Mount. That would be devastating, I think. So, yeah, it's 100%. Really about getting that balance right.
100%. Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps us up for this show. I will have the lads and their socials in the description soon. But honestly, I have RJ in my channel all the time. Just check out some of the previous shows, and you'll see RJ's description socials there. I will add it. And Scott was with us for the European Super League, which wasn't that many shows ago, so you can check out that his socials there right away. But I will add it in the description straight after this. I've got Amir just joining us right at the end. Amir, thank you so much. Great one, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, some announcement from my side. First of all, please smash the like button. If you've enjoyed this particular video, smash the like button. It helps the channel out a lot. Here for the first time, subscribe as well. Helps the channel grow. Couple of announcements. I should have Dami and Matisse tomorrow. Matisse from the channel Ma, where we're going to have a madness. You know, it's going to be proper banters. That will be scheduled for 11 a.m. UK time, so that's going to be fantastic. And then depending on when the press conference is, I do want to have the preview after that. So I will reach out to the boys and create a squad as to who we're going to have for that show. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually not going to be available for the review for the match against Arsenal because Eid is on that day. So I'm fasting. It's the month of Ramadan. And Eid is going to be Thursday morning, which is going to be Wednesday night when the game is. I'll be watching the game. I just won't be there for the review because I've got to go and pray. So the review, as we normally do, won't happen, but I may do like a short 10-minute video after that and upload it and just give my review of that. But I have a very, very special guest, and I'm not going to announce it yet, which will be Thursday evening UK time. It will completely blow your mind. It is an absolute superstar of a guest. So stay tuned for that. It is going to be 6:30 UK PM Thursday. So that will be 3:30 AM for me. So I'm making my time for this particular person because it demands it. It absolutely demands it. So, do look out for that. I will make that announcement much closer to it. I don't want to give it away just yet. I will make that announcement closer to it. So do look out for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, until then, take care. See ya.